Dear Grace, was planning on recording this at the library, but it was busy. First time. So back home, although at the moment I have the window closed, so it's not too noisy for you. Should be able to get to sleep soon. Alright, let's finish off the Joe Rogan podcast episode 3000 for Joe. Line 800, Joe, I have no idea. Leon, welcome to my world the last few years. Maybe I should start. Nah, this needs to be more boring. Joe, I have no idea. Leon, welcome to my world the last few years. Cat you and my nightmare. Temporary. Joe, okay, so how do we get to marriage? Love. Note to self. Insert some reason way for Cat you and Dave to get over the fact that she spied on him for the past 2 years, and somehow they can now look each other in the eye and speak. A. Find a reason where it would be okay to allow someone to anonymously monitor your life, your thoughts, your actions, and not hate them at the end of the invasion of privacy. B. Add more of Dave and Cat U's backstories. Find some common event in the past to have them feel special / unique / odd. Maybe they start talking in their dreams and eventually realize what's happening. Or maybe one day Dave just takes a chance and says, Cat U, can you read my fucking mind? Because I think you can, and it's driving me fucking nuts. D. Or maybe Dave leaves the house and rents an Airbnb. Cat U and Leon lose the feed. Dave sends Cat U an email, tells her the whole story from his perspective. If it's true, they can communicate. He asks her to meet him at the train station. Cat U accepts the invite. They take the train back and forth across Canada till they figure out this connection between them. The purpose, the reason. They fall in love during the trip and decide to share their miracle with humanity, even though most likely they'll be laughed off stage. E. Note to self. Figure it out later. I'm sick of this story. Eight of 6, Joe. Well, I agree. It is one hell of a love story. Again, almost movie-like. Fuck the Notebook. 8 of 7. Fuck the Notebook, but how does that get us to Mars? Well, Cat you and Dave to Mars. No offense, but you both are computer programmers. Wouldn't it be wise to send a previous astronaut or a scientist of some sort, soil / air specialist, an engineer, anyone with experience in isolation? 8-12, Dave. Isolation? I spent 3 years alone in a room. I spent 4 years alone in a room. No, I wasn't alone on another planet, but I might as well have been. And when we go to Mars, we'll be almost constantly under watch anyway. Probably live if I know Leon. Leon wants to interject that there's a 3-minute delay from Mars, but holds back that information. Joe, understood. But I'm thinking of the mission itself. Neil Armstrong was a pilot, not a coder. 816. Cat U, but Margaret Hamilton's Apollo code put Armstrong on the moon. 817. Joe, agreed. She isn't celebrated like she should be. But what's the correlation? Are you the next Margaret Cat U? I don't think Joe would make that joke, but that's okay. 818. Leon cuts off Cat U's response. Joe, I'm sending Cat U, Dave, and 50 of my latest human androids, the Mars 1 model. If there wasn't a 3-minute communication delay to Mars, I would only send androids. But for what we are building, we need boots on the ground who can instruct the androids instantly, as if they are humans, showing them hands-on what we need them to do. From clearing rocks to assembling shelters, they'll be robot slaves. And I know I shouldn't make that analogy, but I'm in so much trouble on Bitter as it is. What's one more shitstorm? Joe, it's a singularity. Dave, Adam and Eve. Cat U blushes. Leon, no. 2 humans who have found a way to communicate telepathically. (824) No. 2 humans who have found a way to communicate telepathically, which is the main reason Cat U and Dave can program together through telepathy faster than 20 of my regular coders. I don't care how they do the telepathy. 826. Joe, why are they so fast? Dave, I'm good at finding her errors. Cat U, bugs. Dave, mistakes. Leon, never mind. But yes, Cat U writes superior code, but when a buggy situation occurs, Dave seems to be able to point it out quickly, as if he's waiting for her to make the bug. Dave, error. Leon. 833. Leon. Together they are the best, is all I know, and because they can communicate anywhere without electronic devices, radio failure isn't even possible between them. 834. Plus, with the speed they solve issues, they can reprogram an android quicker than sending the request back to Earth. Joe, you are sending brains, not brawn. 836. Leon, yes. And of course, I'll be criticized to no end. But I don't care. The mission to Mars is funded by me, and the profits from my companies. It's my ship and my choice. 837. Joe, why don't you go as well, Leon? Leon, what if there's another Dave and Cat U on Earth? What if they are only the beginning of a new form of communication? What if I have another video feed to analyze? 841. Joe, do you? Leon slowly. No. But if this is possible without BrainLink, imagine what will be possible when BrainLink is fully functional. Wow. For some reason, Grace, I can't speak Leon's lines. 843. Dave changes the subject. How much longer until we have to leave for Kill Tony? Joe, had enough of this podcast? Dave, I know the odds of being pulled out of Tony's bucket. I don't want to miss a chance. Joe, understood. Don't worry. I'll get you there on time. How does your act work with Cat U? I read something about a funny situation. I can't even speak for myself either. 848. Dave. I read something about a funny situation that happened to me last week. And she narrates it while I act it out. Joe, like a mime? Dave, no, mimes are dumb. Like how it really happened. Leon, mimes scare me. (852) Dave, I have no idea if it'll work or not. We've practiced, but never performed on stage. Doesn't really matter. I'm sure Tony will ask if we have any special skills after the set, and then the card demonstration should freak him out. 854. Joe, are you going to tell him it's telepathy? Dave, no. I'll tell him to watch this podcast to figure it out. Joe decides to end the podcast there. If Dave manages to get picked, Joe doesn't want him hammered on his podcast and blow his first chance on stage. Well, that would be nice of Joe. 8:58. Joe, why don't we end for the day, relax, go to Kill Tony, and see what happens, and then if we choose, we can resume this discussion tomorrow. Everyone agrees. The cameras are turned off. 8:59. Everyone agrees. The cameras are turned off. Back on the juice today, Grace. Rockstar Zero. Watermelon. $8:59. Everyone agrees. The cameras are turned off. 8:60. Joel. Leon, is this real? 8:61. Leon. Absolutely. 8:62. Dave. Tell us any way you like. Use your own doctors. Leon will pay for it. Right, Leon? Leon. I paid for everything else, including a multi-million-dollar home for you and Cat U that you don't use, so sure. Why not? $8.64. Dave, do you see why it's called Bitter Joe? That evening, Dave is indeed pulled from Tony's bucket. Their act kills on stage. It's so funny. Tony keeps him rolling at the 1 minute mark, and by the 2 minute mark, the set is done. The crowd is standing on their feet. A star is born. The trio returned to the JR studios the next day. 8:69. Cat U and Dave finished the love story portion of their interview. Joe and Leon are in tears by the end of their story. 8:71. Joe publishes part 1 and 2 of the historic podcast on a Friday the 13th. Leon's idea. 8:72. The internet explodes. Everyone assumes both Joe Rogan and Leon Smuck have gone insane or are playing an elaborate prank with Dave and Cat U being actors. 8:73. Leon ignores the world and blasts the telepathic lovers off to Mars. 8:74. Dave will be the correspondent back to the world with Cat U as the brains of the operation. Although the world knows they are married, Dave and Cat U managed to keep one secret to themselves. They never revealed to anyone. They chose not to consummate the marriage on Earth. The world obviously assumed they had. One look at Cat U, and how could anyone hold back their physical desires? Her long, silky hair alone was enough to set Dave's heart on fire. But Dave, always looking for a bestseller, thought it would be a better story to wait until they reached Mars, and Cat U agreed. Not only would they be the first humans to have intercourse on Mars, it would be their first time for them as well. And if Cat U gets pregnant that first time, it would be the ultimate hat trick, scored by the Cosmos. Good hockey reference at the end. The day they land on Mars, the entire world is watching. Leon had previously sent hundreds of drone ships loaded with supplies. Ironically, it's an image similar to the satellite dishes still perched on Cousin Doug's farm. Cat U and Dave's ship, named the Blue Bomber, lands perfectly, textbook. Leon breathes a sigh of relief. Naming a ship bomber is not a good story ending for a movie or in real life. $8.85. Leon waits for confirmation that Dave and Cat U are safe, and then announces to the world the source of the secret video. The rest of Cat U and Dave's secret telepathic love story. 8.86. Meanwhile on Mars, Dave and Cat U fuck their brains out. 8.87. Leon expects them to stop consummating eventually, but 3 hours later he gives up. Tells the press they'll continue the news conference tomorrow at the same time. This should be enough for Cat U and Dave to get it out of their system. $8.88. Possible endings. 888. No, that was a coincidence, Grace, but it's a hell of a number to end on, if you believe in numbers. 888. The possible endings. A. Leon doesn't know the source of the video. Dave and Cat U go to Mars, but are stranded when the world economy collapses. Thankfully, they brought a ton of sperm and eggs with them, and although it's uncomfortable for Dave to perform artificial insemination on Cat U with another man's sperm, he has no choice. The biology tells him randomness is king, not bloodlines. Eventually they populate Mars without additional help from Earth. 100 years later, Mars is a utopia while Earth heads into a dark age. Eventually they return, sharing the secret of Mars, everlasting life caused by some particle Dave dreamt about one night, and then Cat U creates an experiment to capture the particle, which of course succeeds. The world finally believes their telepathic story and reunites globally to complete Leon's original vision for Mars. And they wanted the long life particle as Cat U's experiment fails on Earth. Leon, now an android complete with his original consciousness, sheds a tear, which is considered a miracle since the android has no tear ducts. But the tears are analyzed and a perfect match to Leon's DNA. Once again, the world forgets about Cat U and Dave and focus on this new unexplainable mystery in the story, or part 2. Ending B. Dave is the source of the video, but Leon, Dave, Cat U, and the most advanced radio technicians in the world don't know how he does it. But they all keep his secret. End of story. Right? C. God. God is the source of the video, and Dave and Cat U really are Adam and Eve. But God needs them on Mars, and contrary to popular belief, God is unable to interact with matter, only minds. End of story. God's will. No questioning God's will. D. Aliens are the source of the video. Dave's dad's idea to test Cat U as a new queen for their home planet. Should probably be Dave's dad is an alien and plans whatever. The aliens pick them both up on Mars and return them to their home planet, where the offspring of Cat U and Dave will reinfuse their world with new human DNA that allows telepathy. The world is shocked when their communications from Mars end suddenly and without explanation. End of story. E. Comedians. In another dimension, secretly... Comedians in another dimension secretly... for some reason, I just stopped using commas, Grace, for all of these. Comedians in another dimension secretly feed Dave comedy routines through some cosmically tangled gravity wave system. Dave and Cat U perform and absolutely massacre on Kill Tony before exposing their secret. The world assumes they are nuts, and Cat U and Dave exit stage left to a private island that Leon set up for them. Apparently Leon got quite a deal on the property due to some controversy. Dave and Cat U prove telepathy on the island and then return to secretly teach the world their method. It's not easy and most people give up, except comedians in their dimension. Many manage to open the channels, and together they all move to Austin, Texas to create the comedy capital of the world. In the process, they end homelessness worldwide by saving humanity through laughter and a story. F. XXX. Triple X. No Mars. Dave, Cat U, and Leon are discredited when Dave loses the ability to communicate with telepathy after smoking a ton of DMT with newly made friends following the now famous JRE podcast. Leon loses all of his companies but vows to rebuild his life and fortune. Dave and Cat U travel the world talking to the remaining believers, but with no source of income they resort to selling Dave's sperm to their followers who believe it will give their children telepathy. Unfortunately, Dave is unable to convince Cat that artificial insemination is against God's will, and instead of selling sperm, he should impregnate the woman via the direct approach. He fails to convince his wife. What's worse is the man sauce must be collected dry. Dave's not allowed to use lube, not even his favorite brand, a brand personally developed, and their backup source of income, aptly named DNKY. Their catchline being a jelly-like coconut oil lube. Not helping, Cat U refuses to assist in the semen collection process, claiming carpal tunnel syndrome. Dave thinks it's bullshit excuse, but what can he do? Cat U wins in the end, as she always does. End of story. End of story. Well, now all I have to do is read out the whole fucking thing at once, Grace. That shouldn't be too difficult. Or take too long. 888 lines. And I thought I had a funny joke about transit, but it's not coming to me right now. Call it quits for the day. Talk to you tomorrow, Grace.